Hi, it's Reverend Ahmondra, and I want to thank you for joining me here at the channel where the original queens speak our truth. Today is the second episode in our series, Self-Care, Manifesting Your Greatest Self. Now, in episode 1, we looked at what are the messages that you are telling yourself. Today, we're going to look at where did those messages originate? Who gave us the words that crafted the message that are actually running our life today? I grew up in a household with a mother who loved me and who did everything in her power so that I could shine in the world. But my mom was also under tremendous pressure. Her relationship with my dad was very, very bad, and her finances suffered. And she would give me the message all the time that I was being selfish and that I was ungrateful and that I didn't have to pick the best thing. I could make do with the lesser of something. And as a small child, I wanted to please her. So I would go out of my way to not be selfish. I would go out of my way to not be ungrateful. And I would never pick the best thing. I would always go for that cheaper thing, that lesser thing. Look for what was on sale because I wanted to please my mom. I never wanted her to be upset with me. And as a result of hearing those words, I crafted messages. And those messages began to be internalized. And they followed me all through my life into adulthood. And so, because I never wanted to be selfish, I would go out of my way to give away everything I had. Sometimes to people who didn't even deserve to have what I was giving away. But I didn't want to be selfish. I remember it impacted my relationship with my business partner because I didn't demand that they stood up and put in their half into the business. I didn't want to appear selfish. So I made sure I paid for everything. I made sure that I wrote all the documents. I made sure that I did all the filing. And as a result, I felt tired, used, abused because of how I was operating. Didn't have anything to do with them. In my relationships, because I never wanted to appear ungrateful, I would just pick the little scraps that came off the table. Instead of demanding the whole loaf of bread or at least half a loaf of bread, I would just take the crumb and be okay with that. And as a result, I always felt like I was not getting my needs met in a relationship. Because I created a message and I lived by that message that said I didn't deserve to have the best of something, I would always go for the lesser thing or get something that was on sale. Even when I had enough money to walk into any car dealership and buy a brand new car off the showroom floor, I didn't. I would go and I would get a year-old car and make do with that. There was a message that I crafted from the words that I heard as a young girl that said I didn't deserve to have what I wanted. I could settle for something less. The messages that we receive as young children give us our operating system as adults. And self-care means that we go in, we identify what those messages are, we identify where they came from, and then we begin to shift them. So today I invite you, look at those messages again. Now identify where they came from. Sometimes they come from other children. Sometimes they come from siblings. They come from something that's external to us, and we internalize them and we craft them into messages. And then those messages become what we give to ourselves. I know people always say you should say positive affirmations, and you should. But if you have affirmations already running in the back of your head that are negative and you don't get in there and remove them, just putting a positive on top of it will not confirm who you are. You will still be confirmed by that negative story that is running in the back of your head. And that story doesn't have to be true. It's just a story that we crafted because of the words we heard when we were children. As children, we don't always have the sophistication to understand that we heard a word, but we don't have to own that word. So as adults, let's stop owning messages and words that were given to us, but aren't necessarily who we are. Today, I understand I am not a selfish person, nor am I ungrateful. And I don't have to settle for second best. Now that you have identified the messages that you are saying to yourself, take the time to go in and see where those messages originate. And then trace them back through your life and see how they became your operating system. Self care is our ability to take care of all aspects of our life. And emotional self care is very important, just as important as physical self care. Because when we begin to manifest our greatest self, we want to manifest it in all areas: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. If you were like me and you were playing small, it's time to play big. Thank you for joining me this week. Please pick up a copy of my book, The Uncrowned Queen Reclaims Her Throne When a Black Woman Breaks the Silence, and the journal, The Queen's Appreciation Journal. Pass this video on to other sisters, because I know that there are many of us out there operating in our world from messages that need to be shifted and changed and renewed. It is our time to stand up and step out. Thank you for listening, and I invite you to come to episode 3, when we will actually look at how those messages that we gave ourselves have been impacting our life, how they've been holding us back. Blessings.